We have our keynote speaker, Elena Ringsize, who will be talking to us about design ops. And she's a leader in the field. And I'm going to just hand her the mic so she can tell us all about it. Welcome, Elena.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elena Ringsize, and I'm happy to share that it is my very first time speaking at a conference right now. So I'm super excited. And I'm also really grateful to all of you for being here. So hopefully you can see my slides. Today I'm going to talk about creating a strong team culture in a hybrid environment. But before I start, I want to say a little bit about what I do. It's design operations. And so it's program management for UX design and research. And it's really focused on creating process and systems that allow designers and researchers to focus on their work and not worry about how to get things done or how to get from point A to point B. And today I'm going to share 5 examples of building community on a team. And the point is for you guys to steal these ideas and use them on your own teams. And so to that end, I've created a 5-star rating system. And at the end of each little story, I give my take on whether the impact it had was worth the effort that it took. So look for that at the end of each little section. So let me start with some context. Towards the end of 2021, my org was facing similar challenges to probably what a lot of you were facing on your teams, which was that we had been a distributed team. Then we were fully remote. And then now we were navigating how to be hybrid and all of the nuances that entailed. There had also been lots of changes in leadership at our org level and at the company level. And we also had a variety of types of relationships. Some of us had worked together in pre-pandemic. Some had joined during the remote years. So there was just a wide variety of how we knew each other. So we took our biannual company culture survey in October and then received our org scores. And what we found was that we were siloed and people were not feeling like their contributions were recognized or appreciated. We were just, like it said, 65 people. We weren't a cohesive team. And this was especially true for folks who had been with the company for only 1 or 2 years, which maps back to 2020 and 2021, which were super hard. So the design ops team, which consisted of me, another program manager, and our manager, the director of design operations, decided to do a listening tour. And this was to give us more of the why behind the scores. So we had the scores, but we needed to understand what the sentiment was, what was behind those numbers, so that we could make sure that what we were doing from an ops perspective was spent in the right areas. So what did it look like? It was not complicated. 2.5 weeks, we intentionally invited people that had been with the org for 1 to 2 years, but we also made sure there was folks invited from a broad range of tenure. We used small groups and did 6 sessions. And an important piece here is that we did separate sessions for individual contributors and managers. We really wanted to create a space that was safe, that people could speak openly and blatantly if needed. And we wanted to recognize that can't happen if your manager is there. So, and for managers, they needed to just be with other managers because they have a unique place in the org and they need their own space as well. It was really well received. And we even got feedback that just by having the listening tour, it made people feel better about being with the company and made them feel seen and heard. And so we hadn't even done anything with the findings and we had already helped. So that felt really good. Speaking of findings, our analysis found 4 different themes. how work gets done, how people grow, a sense of ownership of their work, and how people interact with each other. So these 4 themes influence the operations roadmap for the year. But today, I'm just going to talk about the relationships theme. So I created a couple of guiding principles for myself when thinking about like, what was I going to be doing to focus on that relationship bucket. Build community across teams, celebrate great work already being done, and inspire new relationships. So these were my objectives and guiding light through the year. Let's look at this timeline. This is what the year looked like for the examples I'm going to share today. We started the year with the listening tour. In March, we awarded our first design award. In April, I launched the Operations Digest. In July, I launched the Shining Examples Library. And in September, we had our first design party day. So let's get started. Let's start with the design award. This connects directly back to that listening tour theme of relationships. We heard that people needed to be recognized and appreciated. And so I created an award program that was fairly straightforward. A monthly award, anyone can nominate anyone. It didn't matter what role you played in the org. The recipient received the award at our monthly all hands. And it celebrated our company values as well as a 6th value that we added ourselves, which is empathy. Empathy is what UX design and research bring to our products. And it's also what that org brings to a company. So we felt like it was really appropriate to celebrate empathy. The other piece of this is that anybody nominated got a kudos email to their manager and their skip level managers and directors. So it had the text of the nomination in it. And so that way there was no question that we were providing visibility of what that person contributed. It was a success. We had 70% participation in the first 9 months. More at this point, it's been going for a year. Over 131 nominations to date, 47 unique nominees, 11 average nominations a month, and we've awarded about $12,000 in cash bonuses. To speak about that one point a little bit more, initially we offered a very modest amount of money to donate to the charity of your choice because it was something that we could do from our own budget. Within 2 months, our VP was so impressed with the award program that he shared it with HR, who also felt like it was embodied what the company wanted folks to be doing. And we were leveled up to be able to offer a really significant cash bonus, which just felt great. And we were so glad to be putting some weight behind recognizing people for what they were doing. It, of course, increased visibility of individual contributions to leadership and to, across their peers as well. It also gave us something to celebrate as a whole org. It really gave us tangible wins that we could be proud of, even if it was somebody that we didn't work with day to day. And the last point is good vibes. It feels really good to write something genuine that you appreciate about your coworker. It feels good to read those things about yourself. So it really shifted the morale and the general feeling of the team right away. So was it worth it? I'm going to give it 4 stars because it's a medium effort. It's ongoing, recurs every month. So there's logistics that need to be taken care of on a regular cadence, but it was a big impact. It really, really, again, lifted up the vibe on the team. Operations Digest. Let's talk about this next. Initially, Incidentally, this one wasn't even meant to address the relationship theme from the listening tour. Just felt like an easy way to keep people informed. But what I found was that it was a really important piece of the puzzle for our team culture. So what it was a twice weekly Slack post to like our all design channel. And it highlighted stuff that was happening in our org and, key company announcements and activities. And I also launched a shared Google Calendar so you could subscribe to the calendar and get everything on your calendar that was in the update. But what I found after a couple of months was that it really, again, contributed to that sense of belonging to something larger than your immediate team. It encouraged new connections, like people reacting or commenting on those posts, interacting with people that they don't talk to each day. It brought visibility to what was going on in our org and to show that it's more than just the meetings on your calendar. You're part of a vibrant organization and company where there's a lot going on. Like all of the great programs that ERGs host, wellness programs put on through, our people partners. So really just bringing awareness to that life and vibrancy that was already there to help people feel like they're part of more than just their team. And then this one is my favorite. It amplified these extra activities that ICs were doing. So a lot of people were, for example, hosting a monthly gathering about data visualization or a deep dive into a certain product. And this is a time where an individual is acting as an SME and taking leadership and taking initiative. And so this gave visibility to leadership that those individuals were really taking that extra step. Was it worth it? Yes, definitely. It was a Slack post, so it was fun to pick out emojis, and it was not a heavy lift at all. Okay, Shining Examples Library. This was a way to not just recognize individuals, but also teams for innovation and for problem solving. It came out of like an operations needs assessment that I did. And I ended up uncovering all these great resources and tools that individual teams had made. And so it seemed obvious to collect them all, put them in a showcase on Confluence where everyone could access them, try them out, and adapt them for their own team. One note, it's called Shining Examples because it's not called Best Practices because it was only one team doing each thing. So we thought we'll share them all, encourage everyone to use each other's solutions, and then maybe we'll come up with some best practices that we can standardize for our org. The result, there's currently over 20 examples in the library. 10 unique views per month is great for any Confluence page, I think. And it's really about amplifying ideas that are working for some to everyone. It's a benefit of being part of a larger team. So like another way to bring us together, part of something greater than our individual teams. And it also gave us pride in homegrown solutions. So these were resources and tools that were made within the constraints and nuances of our company. And so they have a good chance of succeeding on another team. And so it's nice to be able to look at home first before you scour the internet for something to help you with your problem. Was it worth the effort? This one gets 3 stars. In the right situation, I think this is a great idea. I had already uncovered all of those tools through the assessment that I did. I think it could be a much heavier lift if you had to find all of those examples yourself. So that's what gets 3 stars, but it still had a big impact. Okay, we made it to Design Party Day. These are actual photos from the day. It was really, really great. Hopefully some of these folks are even watching this presentation right now. This was an investment in our relationships, aligning directly back to that relationships theme. It was a full day dedicated to team building. The first part was virtual. We got together, we split everyone into like mixed up teams. We competed in like Olympic style events such as GeoGuessr, or there was like a hex number guessing game. And then teams collected points and got gold, silver, bronze at the end. And the second part of the day was local parties. So we organized simultaneous local activities for folks that were comfortable getting together in person. Some of the examples were one team did mini golf, a team did a pottery class, there was a catered picnic at the beach, and one team did go-karting. So it was really across the board. And there were also activities for folks that were remote or didn't want to get together in person. So they had their own second part of the day as well. We had 85% in-person participation at the local parties. So that was really, really great. We celebrated in 5 locations. And we had 15 people from within the org help coordinate it. With the virtual part, every local party had like 2 individual contributors helping to coordinate it all and figure out budget, et cetera. And then, of course, memories upon memories were made that day. Some of the impact it had was that it gave us a chance, again, to work outside of our immediate teams, whether you were just participating or you were one of the coordinators. It gave us a chance to meet our coworkers in person for the first time or first time in a long time. And it overall strengthened our relationships, hands down, even for the folks that, weren't able to be in the in-person get-togethers. We tried to make sure that there was geographically friendly activities for everyone. And so it really was an investment in the relationships that we thought it would be. And for those of us that did see each other in person, it was one of the huge perks was that it wasn't on Zoom. Was it worth the effort? I give this 4. It was a really heavy lift, but it had a huge impact. There was multiple coordinators, there was budget approval, there was, planning way ahead so that our partners knew we wouldn't be working that day. But again, it had a lasting impact that I think folks really, really valued. So back to the timeline, in October 2022, we took the survey again, and our scores had increased by 28%. So this was really encouraging, and the vibe on the team, you could tell that it was a much closer knit team. So I think I'm getting close to time. I wanted to share, takeaways for you all, but then I was thinking, okay, what did I take away from being part of those initiatives? A little listening goes a long way. The listening tour showed that we were invested, made a big impact, and was pretty lightweight. Strengthening the relationships doesn't have to be hard. All of these things kind of came out of what we were already doing. Felt like fitting puzzle pieces together, and each one didn't seem like a huge undertaking. And lastly, community happens in small gestures too. The Operations Digest, it took me a couple months, but I realized that it was my voice in putting together those updates and my creative emoji choices, of course, that gave people a gathering space and a place to connect. To use Erica Paisani's term, it was glue work. These are a couple more practices. I know, Angie, you're here. Leverage discussion prompts in different ways and try to meet live or in person wherever you can. Take a screenshot of this, connect with me, let me know how some of these ideas worked on your teams. And then I'm going to be at the program management table in the lounge right after this. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you, Elena.